Hi Scorpio, welcome to the Citrus Garden. My name is Christina. This is a reading for Scorpio rising, or if you have significant Scorpio placements and are needing a neutral energy to help balance masculine and feminine energies within yourself. So Scorpio, it's taken me a couple days to get all of the information for your reading. I felt like it was coming in sort of little by little, but there was a lot of information to unpack, if that makes sense. So that might be sort of like an overall theme for your reading. The overall context here at the bottom of the deck, we have the seed, the riddle, and the gem, which is really interesting because I feel like you are Scorpio. I feel like you've perhaps received some sort of information, like an information packet is kind of what's coming through with the seed. Like all of the information that you need in order to grow something or build something or expand in some direction. Because you also have here the Seven of Pentacles, right? With the seed. It's like you're laying the groundwork or starting to perhaps just imagine building something or working towards something like a new project or whatever. But then there's all of this sort of the riddle and the gem, which is coming through today as being sort of this having to retrieve something with the gem. And it's kind of in order to receive this information or this perhaps a tool or just something that you've forgotten, you have to sort of traverse through this confusing energy with the riddle. It's kind of in order to get this thing that you forgot or this thing that you need in order to move forward, you have to kind of go back into an energy that's confusing or that has perhaps a little bit of trickiness associated with it, because you have here these cards. You have here the comfort and then the anger, sadness, right? So it's kind of you're entering into almost this storm energy. I'm just gonna the storm card didn't come out because it's not really a storm. It's kind of you're entering. I'm gonna just use sort of the metaphor of going back to an energy or a place or situation or an environment that causes all of this confusion. It's when you're in this space, you're confused. There's not a lot of clarity. It's all you can sort of feel is this sort of sadness, anger. And so there may be sort of comfort seeking activities or behaviors that you're falling back into is kind of how it's coming through. So it's you're in this, it feels like a return to a place, right? Or in an energy or an environment where it just causes confusion because of all of this. It's and I've been getting the last couple of days this energy of being haunted by something, right? So it's kind of there's something, perhaps a past energy that is, it's haunting you, quote unquote, because you do have the ghost card that came out in your actual spread, and the underworld, which is really fascinating. Okay, so we're just gonna get started here. That's the overall context. The first couple cards to come out were the Eternal Child and the Six of Emotions. So again, with the Six of Emotions, it's kind of bringing in that energy of returning to the past. So I feel there's actually a dynamic between two here, Scorpio, that you're not quite aware of is how it's coming through. It's you and another are going through this experience together. And it's kind of how I was seeing you, Scorpio. I feel this reading is specifically focused on, because it's the two of you are going, it could be you and a partner, or you and your best friend, or you and a family member, or something like that, are going on a trip together to the past. And it's that past energy is something that's kind of difficult or has this sort of anger or sadness associated with it. Or it's having to go through something that's kind of, it feels haunted. It feels like there's a lot of past ghosts here that you're not wanting to stir up, but it's kind of like you have to go through this because there's some sort of gem that you've forgotten there, right? It's like you left this place in a hurry maybe, right? And it's like you left something very valuable behind, and you have to go through or go back to that place in order to retrieve this, because it's like this gem here is what's needed in order to allow this future seed to grow, if that makes sense. Like you can't grow, like this seed, whatever this is, this new beginning is not going to be perhaps as successful if you don't have this gem from the past, because this is already like something of value, right? Something of value for you, and it could be like information or whatever. And this eternal child is coming through, especially with this, right? So it could be something from your childhood, like some sort of like knowledge or understanding or wisdom from your childhood, or it could even just be like a sense of joy, because that's what comes through with this eternal child. Whereas this Six of Emotions is a lot more melancholy, right? It's like that you've forgotten your joy is kind of how that's feeling. Especially like the difference between those two energies, right? There's sort of like the sadness or melancholy, whereas this one's much more joyful. And it could be, Scorpio, that because I said there's two of you, right? It could be that you are witnessing this aspect within another person. So like whoever this person represents to you, definitely some sort of soulmate of some kind. Whether or not that's romantic would be specific to your situation, but it's feeling like you are witnessing your person, this person, as having forgotten something. So it's almost like, okay, we'll go together. That's sort of the vibe that I'm getting here. It's like this person here has forgotten their joy or forgotten something very necessary about their, the solar plexus is very significant in the reading today, because that talks about sort of like inner confidence and like self-esteem and the ability to move forward and make decisions and move forward in life in a very sort of confident and present way. So it could be something like that, right? They've forgotten some aspect of that within themselves, and you're seeing that, Scorpio, and it's like where that thing of value is in the underworld, right? It's like you have to travel through the underworld, so to speak, right? So it could be something like there's this really interesting thing. It could be very much like, again, this is where all the ghosts live. This is where all like the past, so it could be like almost like delving into another person's past. That's what this is feeling like. So it could be that you are like you're perhaps just like meeting up with a friend and they're bringing up perhaps past things or like things that haunt them, so to speak, like things that they perhaps regret or whatever that is. And it's like it's transporting you into their experience. The next three cards to come out, you have here the World Cosmos, the Six of Swords, and the Page of Emotions, the Page of Cups. So I'm seeing this as being the other person. This is the friend. And you have here sort of this portal within their solar plexus, right? So how I'm seeing this with the Six of Swords, it's like this is you. Through this experience, whatever, like, however it is that you're experiencing this, like, it could just be you're meeting up with a friend and they're telling you perhaps like their trauma, and it's like in order to bring comfort to them in some way with the Page of Emotions, right? To like to lift their spirits, because it's like I'm seeing this almost as like you are being transported right into their solar plexus, which I don't know what that means, but it's kind of like you're having a really immersive experience about their beingness, right? It's like you're seeing perhaps their experience through your eyes. That's how it's kind of looking to me. It's like you are being transported directly into their energy. I don't really know what that means, but I'm just going to leave it like that. And I feel like it's very immersive. Like, it's almost like you can't distinguish between you and the other is kind of how it's feeling. Like, it's like you're, how this might come through. It's kind of like if you have a dream about like your own significant relationships, but it's kind of like they have their own relationships that mirror yours in some way. I hope that makes sense. Like, it's like you can see their experience or their struggle or their ghost, so to speak, through the lens of your own experience. So it makes it more personal, if that makes sense. Like, you're experiencing their story as if it happened to you with your own significant relationships and all of that, which is really fascinating to me. And it's kind of like whatever this experience is, I feel like there's kind of like this, the page of inspiration. This card always talks to me about like playful creativity, right? Because there is so much of that here in this space. Because it's like when the two of you come together, and it does feel like there are two individuals, though for you, Scorpio, there may be this kind of energy of like not seeing that because it feels so personal to you. It's like, oh, this is my experience, or this is my, like, I'm remembering something from my past or whatever, but you're actually seeing it from their perspective, if that makes sense. So it's almost like but because of all this sort of mirroring energy, it's kind of like you are seeing something from their life, but that feels intensely personal to you, but it's not. That's what this energy is talking about to me, which is so interesting, because it's because there's all of this sort of with the Lover card coming out next. It's like what was coming through here is like sort of this energy of like, this is their hurt or their trauma or their pain or their past or the things that haunt them or whatever, the things that they'd rather not see. But how you're seeing it, Scorpio, is with all of this sort of love and just like listening, right? Like, you're listening to their story with all of this like emotion, right? It's like you're seeing their story as being something like very beautiful, is how it's coming through, right? Trying to perhaps uplift them or give them comfort about this. And it's like they're that's what's needed. It's like it's kind of like they're looking at their story or their past or whatever. They're looking at this past experience as being something that has so much melancholy associated with it, like so much hurt, so much like being haunted by something. But you're seeing their story as being like this lovely, beautiful like canvas, like something that you admire and find so much beauty in. That's what this is talking about to me, which is so beautiful. But it's kind of like there is a caution here, because so you have here the Growth card coming out next, right? Which is talking about this seed that perhaps you are growing with the other, right? It's like, or it could be like the relationship, like you're growing a relationship with this person. You're getting to know their fears perhaps, or their past, and how their past causes fear for them right now in the present. And there's a lot to unpack is what's coming through, right? It's like kind of like you're sorting through all of these suitcases is kind of what's coming through here, with the caution as well. Because it's kind of like in this experience, you're almost like stirring up all of this past energy. Obviously, there's going to be some of this sort of underworld energy of like things that are best left untouched. I feel like that's unavoidable, though. It's like this is going to get stirred up regardless. But there's stuff here. There's other things here with the Siren and the Seven of Emotions. This is coming out with the Caution card. that there are things that are being stirred up that are it's kind of like when you enter into their solar plexus, of that, like, I have no idea what that means. It's kind of like you are activating this, because another image that I was getting with this is kind of like a lantern or firefly, right? It's kind of like this person here, the eternal child, like whoever this represents, this other person, they are, something about their solar plexus is being cleared, is kind of how I'm seeing this. Like all of this sort of blockage is being cleared because of the two of you coming together. It's like all of this is being cleared, and it's almost like the light is coming back on, right? This solar plexus light, this eternal child joy is coming back online for them. That's how that's feeling. But at the same time, it's attracting all of this attention with these like little fish in the background. And so the image that was coming through here that I was receiving was kind of like mosquitoes being drawn to their energy. And of course, mosquitoes are like little blood suckers, right? So it could be something like a vampire kind of energy, like wanting to feed off of this energy of theirs, because it's kind of like this new light source has like come online. There's all of this joy, and so because of that, the light, of course, it's attracting all of this like perhaps unwanted energy, right? That's where this caution is coming through. It's attracting all of this unwanted energy, especially with the Seven of Emotions, because if the fish here representing the mosquitoes, again, not something that's super quote unquote dangerous, but it is a nuisance. It's almost like there's a lot of distractions now that this light is now on, right? There's a lot of distractions or a lot of unwanted energies that are attracted to the situation or to the person or whatever it is that you're growing. There's a lot of energies that are just being drawn to the situation, right? And it could be causing distractions, because it's kind of like, if you think about a mosquito, when it bites you, it also releases sort of like its own energies into you, into your blood, right? So it's almost coming through as like backwash now. It's so gross. It's kind of like when the mosquito feeds off of you energetically, right? They backwash their own, perhaps like their own energy into your system, is kind of how that's feeling. It's so interesting. I feel like if that message is for you, you'll understand what that means. It's kind of just like, so because of this exchange that's happening between you, your person, the situation, and these distracting energies, it's almost like those energies are causing confusion with the Seven of Emotions. It's causing like all of these new, like almost like weeds that are popping up in your garden, because it's kind of like you are trying to grow a specific crop or a specific thing in your garden, for example, but it's like because of the, I don't know, abundance or the light or something that you have now activated, it's pulling in all of these like pests or like contamination or like weeds, right? So it's like you have to sort out the weeds from the crop. Okay, so take that if it resonates for you. You have to sort out the weed from the crop. And again, this could be something like, because we're talking about all of this sort of underworld energy, there's I'm inclined to say that this is a past, like you're traveling into the past, and it's perhaps stirring up all of this sort of like, it could be something like dreams that you put aside, right? That you perhaps want to restart, but maybe that's not, those are serving as distractions, right? Because it's like you have this one project that you're trying to grow, or whatever, however you want to phrase that. You have this one goal or destination that you're trying to move towards. But because of what's happening, it's like all of the old dreams are being stirred up at the same time. So it's kind of like, are these distractions, or am I meant to sort of look through all of these, right? That's sort of the energy that's coming through here. And with the 9 of Swords, or the 9 of Voices coming out next, this is talking to me about like really filtering the information that's coming through here, because I feel like it's not meant to be all of these, right? It's like perhaps you or your person, or in the situation in general, there's an energy of like the space that you're in has a lot of energy to unpack. Not all of it is the crop that you're supposed to be growing, is kind of how it's coming through. There's a lot of like weeds or distractions present in this space, and so really having to filter through each fish, or like the information that's coming to you, and like I guess discern whether or not that's a dream that you are supposed to be pursuing, or if it's just a distraction or a thing from the past that's being stirred up as a result of whatever this partnership is, right? Because it's kind of like telling you, with this Village card coming out next, to keep your eye on the prize, right? Because it's like this, there's a lot of, I feel like a lot of these dreams with these sort of things coming up are, especially if it's like you have multiple ideas now suddenly that are revealing themselves to you, perhaps like past things that are coming back, or like past inspirations or desires or dreams that are coming back. But with this Village card, it's saying that you have outgrown some of these dreams, right? It's like maybe these are dreams from your childhood or something like that, but you've outgrown them, or like they're no longer for you. It's like those timelines have been pruned, is how it's coming through with this Village. And it's like, keep your eye on the prize, because you are supposed to be going back for something, right? You are supposed to be going back for something. You're trying to retrieve this gem, this thing of value, this piece of information, or whatever this is, however this, like, whatever this represents. You are meant to retrieve this, but in the process, it's stirring up all of these other things. So it's like, are these the things that you are trying to bring back in order for you to move forward? Or are these just distractions? Like things that it's like, these are all the things in your suitcase. You know how like children will pack away like keepsakes, right? Like in a suitcase, or like in like a little box, like keeping things that are like, I don't want to use the word trinket because it's not small. These are very significant dreams, is kind of how it's coming through. Like the things that you wish to have achieved when you were a child, like for your future when you were a child. And they're very special, right? They're all gems, is kind of how it's coming through. But perhaps it's not the right, there's a lot of gems here, but there's only one that's going to help you move forward and grow. That's what's coming through here. It's like you or this other person, or however this happens, both of you, or whatever, are both sort of looking through this like suitcase of old dreams, perhaps, and perhaps getting a bit lost in it. It's like there are a lot of really significant and emotional, perhaps like keepsakes, is kind of how it's coming through. But some of them you have outgrown for sure. Some of them are no longer perhaps like viable paths, or it's like they're distractions, meaning like they're not going to be part of the path moving forward. And it's like but one of them is, right? One of these things is, and it's up to you to decide which one of those things there are. And what's really interesting here, you have here the Peace card and the Ghost. So again, the Ghost is kind of like this haunted energy, but with the Peace card, which I love, because ghosts can be sort of perceived as being a bit scary, right? Like if you're being haunted by something, that's obviously not an easy energy, but the solution to that is to bring peace to it, right? It's like, so it could be something like all of these like dreams are being stirred up, and it's like just like almost like lay them to rest, right? Like honor the part that they played in your life, but that ultimately these things have to be laid to rest. Whatever the past energies are that are no longer viable or that are not moving forward with you in the next part, it's like it's time to lay those things to rest. And I want to say, just as a closing note, Scorpio, that however long this period lasts for you, it's like just be aware here with the moon and the Five of Voices that there are illusions present. There are illusions present with the moon and this Five of Voices, because this card always talks to me about like being distracted from the main goal, right? There's something here for you that you're supposed to be focused on, but because of sort of like the energy of the moon, it's like you're being drawn into an emotional state that's perhaps trying to draw you back into this energy of the past, of like things that are no longer going forward with you, that perhaps need to be laid to rest or that need to be let go in some way. And the last card here, the Four of Materials, which is really interesting because I was trying to ask for like guidance for Scorpio of like what is it that they can focus on, because it's like it's one thing to say that like to keep your eye on the prize, right? Because that's not always easy. But what this card is showing me is that, because obviously there's two energies here, you and another, whoever this person is for you, but it's kind of like part of the illusion is to make you feel like you're alone with this Four of Materials, because it's kind of like you're not seeing the other person here, right? You're not seeing them. It's almost like they are being blocked out in this underworld energy, because it's part of the underworld energy is to make you feel like you're alone. I feel like that's really important here. And so it's like if you ever feel like you're in this state where it's like I don't know what's happening here, or like what I'm supposed to be doing or focusing on, it's like that is an illusion energy that is being imposed on you by this underworld energy, right? And it's like it's trying to it's perhaps like trying to keep you in this sort of melancholy nostalgia by making you feel alone, right? But it's like you and this other are in this together, is kind of how it's feeling. The prize is up here, or the goal, or whatever it is that you're growing is up here, but in this time frame, however long it lasts for you, there are a lot of distractions or a lot of sort of tricky energies where those energies make you feel like you are in this alone, but that is not true. So I'm going to end it there, Scorpio. If you check the description box below, you'll find the link to the extended and also the link to my website if you're interested in a personal reading. If this message resonated with you, please like, comment, subscribe. It helps a lot. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.